Your Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
We in the therapy world like to feel like we know a lot of stuff, right? And so we talk about all kinds of different concepts, and we've done it all along the way. But nothing that we talk about is new as it relates to the Word of God. Here we are talking about how God is coming to get us, how we get to be now physically, not just mentally, a part of something.
Yes, Lord.
And so this was a concept that Maslow talked about a long time ago, love and belonging. He had this great hierarchy of needs, and if you've got safety and security, you've got shelter, you've got all of those things, then once you have that secure foundation, then you can focus on love and belonging. But here it is that God is saying you already belong. You don't have to worry about love and belonging in the way that Maslow talked about it. But the interesting thing is, just in the same way that Maslow identified that love and belonging is something that we need to thrive as human beings, here's where we're saying to you that, yeah, we agree. We do need love and belonging to thrive as human beings. We do need love and belonging to be able to experience care and compassion and empathy and having a place in the world. We do need love and belonging to be part of community. And guess where
In the kingdom of God. The thing about that too, the mistake that I make often is try to love Kamala the way I want to be loved. Now, you know that's not love. That's me doing something to get something. Let me say it again. When you try to love someone the way you receive love. So for example, if I hear some good news and I get excited, I get really, really excited. And so if somebody tells me good news, I'm gonna get excited. I'm gonna get excited with that. And then I get mad because they're not getting excited. Well, that's really selfish. That's not reaching the person where they need to be met, but rather reaching the person where I need to be met in hopes of getting something in return. Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to join you on another Monday night, because if it's Monday night, you're live with
KW
and Jay. Well, Jimmy's not here quite yet. He'll be coming in shortly. We're so excited to see you. And it's Monday. So since it's Monday,
we are always celebrating.
What are you celebrating tonight?
I'm celebrating being back.
Yes, we have been away for a while, regrouping and getting ready. Hi, Tony. Good to see you jumping on. So excited to see you. Hi, Christina. It's been a long, long time. Welcome. We're so happy that you're here. But yes, you're celebrating being back. I'm celebrating being back also. Well, I'm celebrating the guests that we have tonight. That's what has my blood.
Awesome.
We had some really cool guests tonight.
Yes, we did.
So that's what I'm celebrating. But real quick, Kamala, what are we doing here?
So, KW Ministries, guys, first and foremost, we are here just to meet with you and provide a space where we can get to know each other. We have learned through many years of being together that, guess what? We need each other as people. And one way that we get to know each other is through the stories of our lives and the things that we experience. So here we are to have a conversation yet again about life.
That's right. We're here to have a conversation about life. And this evening's conversation is going to be about something very relevant to all of our lives right now. We want to have a conversation about artificial intelligence, what it means to us. What is it? What's happening with it? How do we use it? A lot of people are scared of this stuff.
Yes.
A lot of people are wondering, are computers going to take over? Or what's going to happen? And what we want to do is we want to provide you with some really, really good information tonight that is going to be really, really, really intriguing. So you want to get everybody that you know to log on. You want preachers out there who, I know that you're watching. You want to log on. Tonight is going to be a really good discussion, and it's going to have some really good information for you also.
As you're getting ready to invite everybody that you know to come watch us tonight, come join into the conversation, how about we start here? Tell us what you're celebrating today. Remember, Mondays are not about the blues. We're not doing Monday blues here.
Remember when we used to do Monday blues and we used to talk about the challenges?
We used to do all of that. And we figured out that we were not helping ourselves.
That's right.
So go ahead and tell us in the chat, what are you celebrating today? Because we're trying to turn Monday on its head. We are looking for things to be grateful for.
That's right. So again, we're really, 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 really grateful that you would join us. And again, we're inviting you to go and tell everyone that we're on so that we can get this party started. Now, we have a very special guest. Well, before we do that, Kamala, you have to do your shameful plug, man.
Oh, no. It's not a shameful plug. It is an unshameful plug.
There we go.
So while we're here watching together, getting ready to delve into this conversation, do take a minute to go on to www.kwministries.net/shop. We have got some amazing things in store for you to check out. We've got devotionals. We've got books. Our most recent happens to be yours truly, A Journey Through Healing, a Therapeutic Approach. Guys, check out the store. If you're not into reading, you don't want to do a devotional, that's okay. I promise you there's other things as well. We've got mugs. We've got lots of other material in the shop. We have got online digital content as well. So for any need that you have, whether material or immaterial, we can meet that.
So we would love for you to head over to www.kwministries.org and check us out. We can't wait. And listen, you won't miss a thing because if you head over to the store, we are live over there. So again, we want to welcome you and thank you so much for joining us on this Monday night. Well, we have a very special guest, honored guest, and you were going to kill me if you didn't get to introduce him since you've known him longer than me. So I'm going to let you, please go ahead now.
I will do such. So guess what, guys? Tonight we are welcoming to the stage Rohann Wellington, who is a pastor, military and law enforcement chaplain, and communication and media specialist who absolutely loves coaching churches, pastors, and individuals on successfully developing their digital media footprint. His passion includes training people on ways to adapt new media technology to worship, discipleship, and evangelism. Now, the other shameless plug I'll make is that I knew Pastor Wellington long before he did any of these things in life. So I get to say that I've been a part of the people who have been in his life.
Some people want to take credit for stuff. Do you see how we are?
I didn't take
I mean, how
credit.
much money did you put towards his education?
He did that all on his own.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I get to say
So
that
you
I
knew him. All
There
right.
you go.
Okay. All right.
He's also worked in broadcast journalism at CNN and on the award-winning news show Long Island News Tonight. He is the recipient of the prestigious Folio Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. He currently serves in North American Division as Assistant Vice President for Digital Media and Director for the Professional Services Department, which includes a creative team of project managers, designers, and multimedia and social media professionals. What better person to talk about AI?
That's right. That's right. I'm excited.
We would be remiss to do this introduction and not say that he celebrates the joy of marriage to the one and only Lisa Reynolds And together, they are proud parents of a daughter named Ariel and a son named Jackson. Their shared aspiration is to witness the return of Jesus and be reunited with him in the future.
And we are so excited to welcome Pastor Wellington to Monday Night Live with KW. And Pastor, we are excited to have you. And I am so very grateful to you for accepting our invitation. Let me start by saying, I know how busy you are. Well, that's not true. Let's change that. I have an idea of how busy you are. And the fact that you agreed to talk with us tonight, and you didn't just come to talk with us, you did something super amazing for us. I just want for you to know how grateful we are, sir. Would you start out by telling us what you're celebrating on this Monday?
Oh man, I'm celebrating God's goodness and the privilege to be with you guys. And yes, Kamala, that's a powerful name, especially in these times. Yes,
It is.
but
I
I'll
received
say,
that.
I knew Kamala from before. Yeah, for years.
Yeah, she's going to throw that in
We
my
grew up
face now.
together. So I am, and of course, to you, Pastor, it is a joy and a privilege to be with you this evening and to be with your audience as we talk ministry and technology. And yes, we got a surprise guest lined up to be with us in a few moments, and I'm anxious for him to even come on in and share. So I want you to tell your audience, share the stream. How can we get
Okay.
on in the Facebook, and how can we get on in YouTube and share the stream, because we got something to share this evening. Something really good is coming on up.
Yes. We would love for you to join us you can head over to kwministries.net. kwministries.net. You'll pick us there get us there on YouTube. You can get us on Facebook. You can join us on Facebook. You can join us on Facebook at Cam Win Min. That's Cam Win Min. It's all you have to put in, Cam Win Min, and you can join us. If you are on our church page, if you're from the Cedar Grove Seventh Adventist Church, you can head over to our church YouTube channel. So, but Cam Win Min, that's the best place to go and pick up. And please share this with your friends. I promise you, you're going to want to. This is going to be a very good and interesting discussion tonight.
Awesome.
Are you ready? Sure. So let's get right in.
Let's get right into it.
Pastor Wellington, what's it? Well, no, let me not start there. You were at a conference this week, if you're not there currently. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what AI is? Let's start there.
So I had the privilege of being at two conferences this past week. First, I was in Miami Beach at the Adobe Max conference. Awesome uh, conference on the adaptation of technology and AI, and how AI is changing the landscape in the creative space, and how that works for us in the creative space of what I do with my team here at the North American Division. And then we went on over to the Society of Adventist Communicators with our Adventist Communicators family, and in Chicago. And we had awesome time there. Also talking about AI and the legal sides of AI and the ethical sides of AI. And we had a guest. We had a guest presenter there who's also here, and is good. Who's also here, and I'm anxious to have him come on in. So you got to tell me when I can bring him on in. But we had this awesome conversation about AI and AI technology, and I think it's appropriate for me to bring him on in so we can have that conversation. But in essence, there he is, the one and only, the one and only.
We are so excited to have Dr. Whitley Phipps with us.
The one and only. I gotta say, Doc. Let's start about how this AI journey started. I'm standing in the airport getting ready to board my plane, and somebody comes and taps me on the shoulder and says, "Do you know who I am?" And it's the one and only. I said, "Of course I know who you are." I was like, "I'm surprised you know who I am." And it's like, yeah. And then we started talking, and this AI conversation just went to the next level. And so I'm just happy to have Dr. Phipps here. Most people see him and know him as a singer, as a pastor, but don't know that he's into technology also. So he's going to be joining us in this conversation. We talk about the ethics and the practicality of AI in even pastoral ministry. It's good to have you, Pastor Phipps.
I was going to say, awesome. Thank you. It's a joy to be with you. And what I said to you was, you probably don't remember me. which is what people say to me. So I usually say it first to them.
You don't remember me. Yeah, right.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Here,
Nobody
Pastor
can
Wellington.
forget you, sir.
Pastor Wellington, real quick
Yes,
before we dive in. So Kamala can show off about y'all's relationship.
yes, ma'am.
I have
Yes, sir.
a relationship of my own.
All right. Talk.
Pastor Phipps got me into Adventist ministry in the United States.
Look at that.
Yes, we visited. We had just moved to Florida. My wife was like 9 months pregnant.
Yep.
And we just moved to Florida, and we just believed that that's what God was calling us to. And we went to church. We just went to church on a Sabbath, and he was the pastor of the Palm Bay Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he was preaching. And I wrote him a note: "Can I talk to you after church?" And after church, he came up to me and he said, "Listen, I really want to talk to you, but I can't. I have a plane to catch. I'm going to do a funeral of a celebrity. I don't remember the person's name. I'm going to do a funeral, but if you give me your number, I'll get back in touch with you." I said to Kamala, "He's too busy. He's never going to call me." Kamala said, "Aren't you a pastor? Why don't you have a little bit of faith?" The Sunday morning, Dr. Phipps not only called me, he came and picked us up. I know you don't remember this, sir. He came and picked us up at the house.
Yes, he did.
Took us to his house. His wife made us breakfast. We spent the day, and by Wednesday, he had me a job at Southeastern Conference in Seventh-day Adventist.
Look at that. Look at that. What an awesome testimony, Pastor Phipps. Look at that. It comes back to you in so many ways.
Yes,
Absolutely.
What is AI?
So the long and short, artificial intelligence for the formal definition. But I think in the last few months, let's say December of 2020, is it 3 or 2022? But time has kind of phased away now. So I think in the last few months that generative AI has become so much more available for the common person, you and I, and it has changed the landscape of our world in its ability to generate on its own with a few prompts. Its level of smart intelligence abilities of algorithm, putting everything together to generate images, songs, sermons for those of us who are pastors, books, and it just changes for the healthcare. It helps with in that all of that too. And so I look at AI as not just a set of codes generating something. I look at AI as a fundamental change in life as we know it before. It's never going to be the same again. AI is all around us. It changes what we do and how we interact. Some people are concerned about whether or not AI will replace jobs. And the truth of the matter is that in some places it may trim workload, but I do believe that what one famous person said, it's not the AI. Don't fear the AI that it will replace your job. Fear the person who knows how to use AI, because they will always get ahead of you in today's world. So AI, I believe, is not just artificial intelligence, but it is also a change of life in the way it has impacted us.
In other words, what I just heard you say is, don't be afraid of it. Go learn it, and don't just learn how to do the basic stuff as we do. Go write the codes. Go do the work of putting our information, our fingerprint, our footprint in there, so that way we can make sure we're getting the right outcome. Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
Yeah, well, I think I'll let Dr. Phipps speak to that part of writing the code and generating a context for our context as Seventh-day Adventist ministers, because I think he has something that he can speak to on that. But in terms of AI, technology is not something to be feared. It's like, no right or wrong of this technology. It's how you use the technology that's going to be appropriate or not. And so AI is an extremely powerful tool, and I'll show you some images. I'll show you some videos tonight that you'll be able to see some of the things that we're able to do and we continue to do with AI, in terms of translations, in terms of generating videos, in terms of generating music, in terms of, but the ethics of AI now becomes the big question. And
Right.
so, that's so I say, don't be afraid. And AI is not going anywhere. AI is here to stay. AI is going to, not going to, forgive me. AI has changed our world.
Yes.
We've got to figure out how we embrace it. And I'll turn it to Ella Phipps and see if he wants to add anything to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely correct. And Ron, your definition and your description, it's right on the money. If it's okay, I'd like to share with you the $1 million question: what in the world is a singer pastor doing fooling with technology? So let me start by saying that when I was pastoring in Washington, D.C., I was pastoring the Capitol Hill Seventh-day Adventist Church from 1985 to 1995 for 10 years. Well, a couple of years into my ministry there, the church just blew up. It just became one of the fastest growing churches in the regional work. And but it was an unusual demographic that was coming to the church. It was mostly young thinking people with most of them in either in college or university, young families, young professionals. One day, I think we asked, "Is there a doctor in the church?" Somebody needed help, and 8 people came forward, and 6 of them were females. That it was that kind of church. Well, I figured out pretty quickly that I couldn't stand up as a pastor every Sabbath and hem and haw, or I couldn't come up. There's no way you're going to pull the wool over studying people's eyes
Intellects.
that you're studying when you're not. So that meant that I had to deal with an issue, and the issue was I was traveling on a regular basis, but my reference library from which I studied was at home, and I couldn't take it with me. So 1987, now this is 1987, out of desperation, I went to my reference library, and the books that I primarily turned to for my research, I tore hundreds of thousands of pages out of those books. And then I bought, 1987, 2 rudimentary scanners. And over maybe about a year and a half, when my wife and I, we would watch the news or something, we'd scan hundreds of thousands of pages, brought them up into a text file. And then I went, Ellen White Estates, they had, remember the CD-ROM?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I went and I found the company that manufactured the search engine, which is called Folio Views. And I purchased my own copy of Folio Views, just like the Ellen White Estates did, had their own copy. And I imported all of my text that I had scanned into this portfolio view search engine. So I was so happy. I was on the airplane going anywhere in the world, but I had my reference library on my laptop and I had a search engine. Now, let me say something about that search engine. It was before Google, I had this. So when you typed in Grace, instantly tens of thousands of paragraphs and sentences about Grace I would have an avalanche coming in. And then I had to learn how to cull quickly, figure out what I want to use, what's important, what's not. You know who used to do this? The most prolific preacher in history was Charles Spurgeon.
Yes.
And when Charles Spurgeon wanted to prepare his sermons, he would send 4 or 5 young preachers to his library. That was his search engine. And they would leave on his desk all the books open to places where he needed to read and study. And so I attribute that to one of the main reasons that I was able to stay at a church for 10 years. And by the way, the church where I am now, I'm still using this tool that I built. And if I want illustrations on grace, if I want quotations on grace, if I have it all at my disposal. But it has allowed me, listen carefully now, because I'm going to say something that probably very few pastors in our denomination will be able to say. Brother Winston, I've been at the Palm Bay Church as its pastor for 23 years.
Somebody else say amen.
It's hard to find a regional pastor that has been at one church, the same church, for 23 years. And consequently, I've had to speak to the same group of people on a regular basis and not repeat myself.
Yeah.
Come on now.
No pressure.
And be fresh, and be relevant. And that, so in came handy the tools that I was able to build. And now fast forward to AI. Let me talk to you about AI. I liken the generative model of these large language models. I liken it to the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Mercy.
AI has read everything, good and evil. And in its consciousness, it has good and evil. If you ask it, because I did it, if you ask it, ChatGPT, should a man marry a man? It will tell you yes. If you ask it with a Christian perspective, it will give you another answer. But guess what it will do, because it has its own consciousness? It'll say, now, here's the answer you want, but you got to keep an open mind. Don't rush to judgment. You know, it almost chastises you if you're looking for a clear moral perspective. How crazy is that? But that's another weakness that I found with large language models like AI is that it doesn't restrict itself to resources that you trust.
Right.
So it goes to other crazy resources, and by the way, every one of these things that I'm telling you, we dealt with and fixed and built our own Adventist conscious, if I can say, theology conscious large language model. Another thing that AI does
It's not
is
released yet. What you
no,
haven't built, right?
no. We're going to release it in about probably about six to 8 weeks.
Okay,
But
awesome, awesome.
yeah, and another thing that AI has a problem with, and this is heavy, but it's true, and this is the biggest problem, and we've been able to fix it, and that is AI skims. It doesn't mine.
Mm.
MINE.
Mm-hmm.
Back up. Let me say, when I say AI, I'm talking about ChatGPT. But let me tell you something else about AI that's heavy. They put an AI pilot in a fighter jet, an AI pilot, and then they put this AI pilot against Top Gun Navy pilots, the top pilots in the America Navy and Air Force. AI pilots win every time.
Mm.
One of the reasons is that the pilot said he was just exasperated. He said, "I think one of the reasons is AI knows no fear,
Right.
and it does maneuvers that we wouldn't even think of trying."
Right.
Yeah.
And also, go online, you'll see it. AI. You've heard of Schubert's Unfinished Symphony. They gave that assignment to AI, and it finished it with glorious flourishes. Amazing, amazing orchestration. So much so, don't be surprised if my next album is going to be AI generated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can say to an orchestra, I want Amazing Grace in this key at this tempo, and I want these key changes. And AI builds the whole orchestra for you, right? So the last thing I'm saying is on the issue of it skims, it doesn't mind. In
Right.
other words, if you use ChatGPT often and you ask it a question, it picks up the gems on the surface.
Right.
And it's probably its greatest skill is rewriting things. It is a master at that. It's the autocomplete
Mm-hmm.
when you're typing in a word on your
Mm-hmm.
phone. Well, this is essentially a thought complete application on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
It can complete your thoughts, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so what we did was we developed a linguistic algorithm that allows the mining or the use of AI to mine for the diamonds, so that every time, have you noticed also, by the way, when you ask AI, tell me more, if you ask it that 2 or 3 times, all of a sudden you'll find it's repeating itself. It's giving you maybe the same answer but in a different way. Well, what we built allows it to go further and further into the resources that you have vetted and identified. Now, it's been a long answer, but we'll be releasing. Oh, the long and short of it, what we built. When you use it, it reads for you. It researches for you. I'm talking about in seconds.
Mm-hmm.
When you put in a topic, it reads for you, researches for you, and writes the most eloquent sermon I have ever come across. You can use that as it is, but the way I use it, God gave me a quote. When you're inspired, you are more productive.
Well,
I use it to inspire me
Mm-hmm.
to be more productive and write things in my own voice and in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
And Rohann, that's what you heard. You were there Sunday in Chicago. That's what you heard. You heard me using that technology. But it was an inspiration to me, and I was able to express my thoughts in a much more eloquent and clear way. And please, I think you've been so kind. One of the biggest problems we have as pastors is that in the seminary they teach us Greek, Hebrew, homiletics. They don't teach us how to research, to write effective, powerful sermons. They don't, and when I tell people all the time, any pastor who stands up and tries to be extemporaneous off the top of his head and profound at the same time is either a genius or a fool.
It's one or the other.
And you figure out real fast which one you're dealing with. Anybody who gets up there off the top of his head and tries to be extemporaneous and profound at the same time. Now, some people have that gift, but just a very small percentage of us. So thank you for letting me kind of lay out to you my journey in AI and what we're about to launch. Yeah, I think it's going to be revolutionary for pastors and elders who were never taught how to research and prepare themselves.
So I've got a question. Wow, that was really informative. And some of the things that I heard in there are kind of the pros and cons, costs and benefits, if you will, for AI. And you went into the ministry aspect. But I want to pose a question to everybody. And welcome, by the way, Pastor Gibson. Saw you pop in there, Jay,
Yes,
from the
ma'am.
KW and J.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So one of the challenges that has been put out there to AI is the idea of accountability. So what happens if, as I'm utilizing these systems and a mistake is made, whether it's a mistake in research or a mistake in information that's presented, like who holds the bag? Who's accountable for that if AI generates something that is problematic for anybody?
For example, give you an example, as Dr. Phipps talked about the mining versus
The skimming.
the skimming. Well, in preparation of my sermon on last week, I asked it for a quote from Ellen G. White, and it gave me book, page, and number. And just something said to me, double check that. ChatGPT. Just something said to me, double check that. And so I went in my logos, brought up my Ellen G. White stuff, looked it up. I was like, wait a minute. I kept searching, and I spent about 15 minutes because I just knew I was doing something wrong. I spent about 15 minutes searching before I gave up and said, wait a minute, it's not there. And it did that to me about 3 or 4 more times. So let's just say now that happens when I hear Kamala asking, let's say that happens on where a doctor is looking up something and they're misguided. Who is accountable? What happens here?
So, you know what it also does? we had some pastors who were working on a project together. If you ask it what Rohann Wellington had to say about grace, or what Winston had to say about righteousness, it'll make up the most eloquent quotes. I'm telling you, it hallucinates. And when you read it, you'll say, wow, did I say that? You want to take credit for it, man. It's so good. So I'm sorry to jump in and tell you that.
So no, so I'm glad you confessed, Winston, about what you did.
Listen, I'm double checked.
But
at least you didn't preach the chapter. At least you didn't preach
it highlights to the ethical question of AI. AI is not perfect, and it needs to be said that. And it's not. AI can generate images that can place you in places that you were never in.
Absolutely.
And so you've got to, not because you saw something meant that you it was there, or the person was there. Not because the information is comes out and it has a reference means the reference is accurate. It has to be checked. And I would say, I think what Elder Dr. Phipps said about inspiration. AI is really a tool that gives you inspiration. It does not replace, especially for us pastors, the work and the role of the Holy Spirit in guiding us in the thought process for our sermon preparation. I tested the tool a little bit, got a sneak preview, and tested the tool. And I'm going to use some of that tool, some of the information that was generated from the tool. I'm checking, I'm triple checking, but I'm cross checking. but so far it's coming true. It's coming true. It's coming through.
Well, you know why? You know why, Pastor Wellington? You know why? Because what we've done is the tool that we built, we've restricted it to vetted, trusted resources. It does not go out into the tree of knowledge and of good and evil. It's not going there. We have figured out a way how to restrict it to vetted, trusted resources. And if you can't trust what our church has produced, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. But no, I'm excited about that because that makes our preaching a lot more solid. It makes, and it's not just something just for pastors, but it's also for elders and all those who are going to be standing to preach and proclaim. But that's good. But again, to us and to our point back that as Kamala was talking about, I think it's very important. Don't just run with it. Verify it. There was a case, and there was a case that was actually, this is a well-known case that in I think it was New York, where these two lawyers prepared. One prepared a brief and filed the brief, and the other side has got to review the brief. And the cases cited some.
That's what we talked about earlier.
It had some citations in there, and the other lawyers started looking up for the site, and it wasn't there. It wasn't there.
Yeah,
and so a couple of lawyers got into some serious hot water where that was concerned. And so the important thing about AI is that if you use AI from an ethical perspective, give credit. And so make sure there's a attribution to AI. AI can do some wonderful things. I have a video of something that we did in English and in Spanish, and we just showcased it. If I can show you this one is English. I'll show you this is let me show you this one in French, because I don't speak French. If I can share that file, I don't speak French. I don't know if I can. Can I?
Yes.
All right, share that file for 2 seconds.
Bonjour, bienvenue à la Pentecôte de l'année. Nous sommes ravis que vous ayez décidé de vous associer à la division nord-américaine pour cette incroyable initiative de proclamation.
Nous vous encourageons et prions pour votre succès. Dans le kit de ressources de bienvenue que vous venez de recevoir, vous trouverez non seulement du matériel de marketing, mais aussi des outils et des ressources extraordinaires.
I'm going to pause that because that's priority stuff, so.
Your French is great, man. Your French is great.
Fluent.
Here it is. That's a video that's going out from Pentecost, and those who are participating Pentecost will get that in English or Spanish or French. But notice what happened is that was my voice. That's one of my colleagues there that was speaking, and we're speaking in French. And I got the Spanish one. I can show you the Spanish one. And it has my voice. It has my intonation. And I can have it lip sync in such a way that it's speaking that's family there, man. It's good to see Storeno's there. But it's also good that you can use it in a meaningful way. I have the Spanish one. I can show the Spanish one too, but it's just to show that you can actually generate for translation purposes. We have it in Spanish, and it also can do it for music. You can write a song and you can generate a song. You can do for imagery. Now, the beauty about this, I want to show this one. The beauty about this for the imagery, and this one is
pour vous aider dans votre initiative
that's
de
different one. That's different one. Let me show you the one for the imagery. Let me remove that one from the stage, and then let me show you this one. Now, this is pretty interesting because okay, it's telling me I gotta get password to get you guys. Yeah, it's not giving me the permission to share screen right now. So I gotta come back.
No. Are we ready for it? No, remove that one.
No, it's gonna show you the video. I'm trying to show actually a image, but it's not giving me the permission to do it. So it's
okay.
That's on my side.
Okay. What are you doing at?
Huh?
I was gonna say while you're doing that, when you
Yeah.
were speaking, this came to mind. Well, I have
While you
a
do
friend.
that, you take it away. Let me try to get access to share it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I have a friend who's a professor at one of the top universities in the world, and he said the universities of the world are sweating bullets about AI
Oh yes, has to.
because they're not prepared right now for this reality. And there was a, a paper that was written by a very respected university professor entitled "The Dangers of AI,"
Mm-hmm.
and it was peer reviewed and it was published and very accepted. Except a couple of months later, the person who submitted it came back and said, "By the way, it was written by AI."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Listen, Christine has a question. She says, "Will we need the Holy Spirit in the spiritual sense to edify us with AI having so much impact?"
My answer to that is yes, we need the Holy Spirit, and this is a very, very important point, very, very important question because it does not replace spending time with the Lord. It does not replace spending time in prayer and seeking God's guidance. AI doesn't tell you what to speak. The Spirit tells you where to go and what to speak. The AI only helps you to make sure that it's properly presented, put it together, so that when you get up to speak, it's coherent, it flows, make sure that you are able to communicate more effectively. It does not replace the work of the Holy Spirit. And just
That's right.
and I encourage pastors to spend time with the Lord and seek his guidance on what to speak on.
yeah, I would add that what it does, and the tool that we built, what it does is researches for you.
Right.
You know, and it takes that time that you normally would use to research and crunches it amazingly. So, you know, in the seminary, they taught us that for every minute you preach, you need an hour of preparation. And I thought that to be very true. It's very difficult to, you know, to be able to to find that kind of time every week to write a sermon. But if you have a tool that if you say, I want to preach on uh, righteousness by faith, and it goes to the library for you, researches for you, and then writes it. In other words, presents to you what it has researched. Man, that saves you a ton of time.
It does.
And if it's doing it only from resources that you can trust, that's what we built.
Dr. Phipps, let me ask a quick question on that one. Could you speak to the children, parents, and probably young people on here, how important it is as we talk about vetted um, research, as we talk about trustworthy sources? Can you talk for a second about how important it is that we, speaking here now about Seventh-day Adventists, but then also broadening out there to Christians, broadening out there to medical fields, broadening out there to that people who want an outcome have to be a part of the input? How important is it that we pick up this field of study?
Yeah, we have to be involved. We can't run from it. It's like Pastor Wellington said, it's here to stay. But let me tell you where I think AI is going to, in spite of all of our all of our advances, is probably going to run into a wall. And I'm going to tell you what the wall is. For centuries, the primary method for storing the information and the information that we researched from for centuries, it was paper-based.
Mm-hmm.
And the discipline of sustained reading
Mm-hmm.
was how you mined.
Mm-hmm.
You had to read. Well, reading from paper is a lost art, and we're facing, and this is one of the most important points I can make tonight. Sustained reading was the only way you transferred information and knowledge from one generation to
Mm-hmm.
another,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that sustained reading is no longer, and I'm talking about where you sit down and for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you read something. That discipline is no longer there in our young people. And I will tell you this: this is my fear. For the first time in the history of the world, modern world, all the information in all of the books ever printed, I'm talking about those red books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about all the information that we have had in this church, all the information we've ever done, all put together. For the first time in our lifetime, it will not be transferred from one generation to another. It will not be transferred to our children and our grandchildren because they're not reading. The sustained reading is not a part of their life. The reason I bring it up, where I say it's going to hit a wall, same problem with ChatGPT and other large language models. It curates the knowledge, but the only way what ChatGPT has written, as Brother Wellington says, the only way it's going to come into the human mind,
You have to still read.
you still have to read it.
Still have to read it.
You still have to read it. And if sustained reading, is no longer a contemporary discipline, even we're going to have smarter machines and dumber people because the machines are going to have all the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The people will not be bringing that knowledge into their minds or consciousness because did you know of the 800 million books published in the United States of America last year, more than half of them are never even opened.
Jesus.
I'm not talking about read. They're not even opened. So,
My Lord.
so anyway, so that's why I think we have to correct both of those issues. Well, even with ChatGPT and other things like that, we're still going to be behind the eight ball as a people with our intellect.
We're going to come back to some more questions, but Pastor Wellington, I want to put. Are you ready for this to go up, Pastor Wellington?
Yes, I think I got it now, finally. All right, great. This image is done by AI. This is from Revelation. You have some images. By the way, this is done by all these images that I'm about to show are done by one of our colleagues here at the North American Division. His name is Peter Damsteed. He's one of our photographers here and creatives, as well as awesome guy on AI. This one I showed at a particular church. You'll see there. I showed that one. But the others just came in this evening, so I want to share that one. If you can can you hit the next slide to get it to the next way? There you go. So this one is generated by AI. That's Bethsaida, the man by the pool. All of that's all AI generated. Okay. The next one is a communion. Look at the detail. Look at the detail of that. It looks photorealistic. That's all AI. Let's go to the next one. This is awesome. Do you see the ray of light coming over the tomb opening there? That's the empty tomb.
And nobody stopped to recognize the entrance to the tomb is a different shape than the
And the circle.
Almost there, almost there. This is fixing. And that's a good point. Well, look at that. Look at that one. Look at how sharp that is and the detail.
yeah.
Now, we're not going to do the other elements of the conversations except to say the details of it. Let's go to the next one. The next one.
Noted.
Next one. Let me see the next one. That's the loaf. And this one. Look at that one. Look at the details.
But can we go back 1 second, Pastor Wellington? Because I do think.
Wait. Give me the last one. Give me the last one. Give me the last one. The last one. Go back. Go forward. And then last one. That one. No, that's not the right one. All right. Let's go backward.
Keep going.
Yeah. No. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
There you go.
I don't know.
Right. So let me, and again, I want to go back to the point of those.
You can close it out.
There is
Yeah. There you go.
there's a book series that Kamala have read, and I watched the Games of Thrones, and there were not any Black people actors in there, not the second one. Now we're not promoting Game of Thrones on here, but the argument was to the writer, why don't you have Black people in your story? He said, if you want Black people, go write your own story. And so again, I'm asking for you all to emphasize the importance that whoever puts the input, that's what you're going to get out. And so our children, and now not just Christians now, but Black children need to be involved in the writing of these programs.
So my response to that is pretty. So we've got to do and can generate our own community of images. I think what we see here is what's being done across the spectrum, and I think it's time for our community to look at delving in and doing something, and that's one of the reasons why we have Dr. Phipps here tonight.
Yes.
He's doing something.
Yes.
And I'm so gracious to him for accepting and saying, "Hey man, you got some time tonight to want to jump on it?" And he was like, "Oh man, come on, you call out, come on out." But it's far. We don't need to shy away from this. We need to embrace this and make good out of it. When I started learning, and many people will know me in the pastoral realm, but people don't know that I actually started in. Actually, my first degree is actually in business, and then I actually was a lot involved in media and communications. And
you worked at CNN, sir. I didn't know that.
Well, even before that, at WIC, Western College, and NCU Radio, and all of that. But the thing about it is, back in those days, the folk didn't see the correlation between media and technology, and they were like, "Well, what are you gonna do, man?" And I'm saying, I buried myself in it and contributed to that development. And I say it's an opportune time for our community to embrace technology and use it for good and for great ministry opportunities for themselves.
Yeah. A lot of what I'm hearing and everything that has been said is this idea that as we think about future, we also have to ensure that we don't give in to the culture of convenience that we have, which is what takes us away from learning for ourselves, for being given instructional control when we know what when we're the ones behind it.
So, but here's the thing, though. So let me give you taking it to a significant level with AI, and even if any pastor or so is watching, or any church leaders can hear.
Pastor Sean Brooks is on here, and some others.
Oh, that's my classmate, man. Pastor Sean Brooks. Let's tell him howdy, schoolmate. But let's say you're using AI for even Bible studies. AI Bible studies can be, you can use AI to help generate your Bible studies, but you also can use the AI for interaction with your Bible studies. And then even with the responses coming, you can create automated responses. You can even generate from that AI setup the ability for, okay, if this response is generated, then do this. And then by the push of a button, you have somebody generating and say, okay, I want to request baptism. Now that requires a little bit more intricacy in getting it done. But if you apply yourselves, you can use those in AI tools to build out a nice little framework of how to generate interest and move that interest in from just reading or watching your live stream, but also engaging them in a meaningful way.
I think we,
I have a quick question, Winston.
yes.
And how do we protect the privacy of people? I don't know if y'all asked this question already. How do we, with this, with now all of this advanced technology, and we've seen so many shutdowns, invasions, intrusions into private and personal information, how is AI being prevented from doing the same, quote unquote, the chip in your hand, the chip in your head, Big Brother's always watching?
So
Good question.
so here's the thing. I think
Here's the truth.
yeah, Ella Phipps talked about the Navy pilot and the aviation and the
Hmm.
AI pilot. The AI is always going to do something outside of the box. And you just got to remember that not because AI generated it means that it's accurate. In terms of privacy elements, when I was making reference early and then I got a little bit sidetracked. But if going back to my early days when I studied, I did a little bit of computing, and it one of the things I learned early on back in my early days was a concept of GIGO, garbage in, garbage out.
That's
And if
right.
you put garbage in, you're gonna get garbage out.
Right.
And so you've got to careful what you put into um, the AI prompts because it's conditional training that's happening. Once it goes in there, it's not yours anymore. Okay, it's
Yeah.
gone, and so that's important. Now, interestingly, for the creatives, and this is not going to be for the pastors now, but for the creatives, Pastor Phipps, so creative also, but for the creatives, if let's say you take a photo, I don't even know, I got my camera somewhere here, but let's say you take a photo, right, camera, right? And what they're doing now is that they're allowing us to create the metadata that will allow you to tell and condition AI not to use a certain picture for its conditioning. Now, will it respect it completely? That's it's to be determined. That's where you talk about the Navy pilot
Oh.
versus the AI pilot.
Mhm.
Will it respect it completely? To be determined. But for right now, they are taking steps to help you to kind of limit yourself. Now, also put your name in Google and see what comes up.
That's true. That's
You're
true.
out there. You're out there.
That's
So that's
true.
public domain information. I would just say just live transparently. You know what I mean? Because you never know.
Hey, Ron, you think you can pull up your phone and show them the AI generated photo you took with your daughter?
as while he's getting that ready, let's take a few more. You have it right there.
It
This is
is
an AI.
this is no AI generated photo. It's a real photo. But
It's not an AI generated photo.
I want to show you which one. Talk about the one with
Yeah, the one from the other night, Thursday night.
from the other night. I'm bringing it up right now. He's just it's an AI generated photo. It
That's his
He's
daughter.
gonna bring it up on the big screen. There it is.
That's his daughter being hugged by Oprah Winfrey. That's an AI generated photo.
Oh, that's
No,
not
that's not
her.
AI generated. That's a real photo. That's a real photo. Okay.
That was good. That was good.
Compliments of Dr. Phipps. Okay, that's why he's giving the shout out. but
But that can happen.
But no. But but I will tell you what I did do. Okay, okay. What I did do, which is AI generated, I can show you what I did do with that photo. I blurred out the background AI,
Yep,
removed the
exactly.
individual's AI,
Yes,
and
sir.
I did some modifications to it AI. Now, I don't want to show you all the photos I got on my phone, but
No, but show
point
me what you did with it.
I will have to find it here, But the reality is that you can through AI, and it's called this app called Lightroom. You can do significant changes to the. Let me see. Here it is. It may not show any better, but if you look on see the background is blurred out. See the guy in the
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
All of that is
But guess
done
what you
through
can also
AI,
do? You
and
can
I
also take
also
those
blurred
people
out the
out
folk in the
altogether.
back.
You can recreate reality.
Ryan, you can take those people out altogether.
Oh yeah. And if you look at it carefully, there is some separation that I did with it, all in this AI tool. It's looking nice. So
Wow.
I can separate AI and this whole app. Lightroom is the one I'm using. Lightroom. It's all AI generated stuff, man. So you can. So that's why I say be careful about just because somebody said they're in Paris doesn't mean
Doesn't
they're in
mean they're
Paris.
embarrassed. Before, gentlemen, because I know you all's time and the folk have been here. So let me get into these questions real quick.
Sure.
This is Sister Fletcher. What if you write your own sermon and then ask AI to format, summarize, and proofread for you? For
There,
example, Dr. Phipps, how
there,
would your program work with that?
there ain't no problem with that. I do that. When I'm done with my sermon, I help it, ask it to clean it up, so that it's grammar free, the grammar is proper and the layout is proper. So, but it's my thoughts and my concepts based on the Holy Spirit's prompting.
Absolutely. That's an excellent way of doing it. I use it because I love the powerful use of the English language, the
Right.
eloquent use of the language. Um, the other day when I spoke at my fundraising dinner where the picture was taken, we were honored to have Oprah Winfrey there in person at our fundraising event. But I said, uh, dreams are more than animated flights of fancy. Dreams are the divine whisperings, the whisperings of the divine mind into the human heart.
Oh, that's good.
Dreams, get this, dreams define you. Dreams refine you. And dreams assign you to the work
Woo!
God has called you to do. I'm saying to you, I was inspired when I read what my tool generated.
Right.
I internalized it, and I was able to come up with what you just heard.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
see, and
Right.
because I'm inspired by what it
You
does.
go in further.
Yeah, and like I said, when you are inspired, you are more productive.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Real quick, Christine says, re-education of this new generation that is coming up under AI era. How do they implement strategies that will indicate that
These kids are using their
understanding of what right? So, in other words, how will educators then, as you said, the universities are scared, and rightly so. How do educators implement learning strategies to make sure our children are actually understanding what they're doing versus going home for homework and using AI to come up with the answers?
Well, as a person who's been the president of an organization for the last 26 years that provides tutoring and mentoring to
Yes.
children of incarcerated parents and children falling behind in school, I will tell you that we have to marry reading to
There you go.
new strategies, to new digital strategies. When kids read today, 90% of them are triliterate. Triliterate is the ability to speak and write in 3 languages. Well, I define text as a language of communication, audio as a language of communication, and video or visuals as a language of communication. Triliteracy is the ability to receive information in those 3 languages simultaneously.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how kids read today. You know, they see the captions of the words, they hear the audio, they see the visuals, and their minds are wired for that kind of reading. And so I've been toying with a concept called video reading, where you find a way to marry the ability to read to new strategies, digital strategies. We're not going to be able to keep our kids engaged in reading. And if we don't keep our kids engaged in reading, knowledge is not going to pass from one generation to another.
Yeah.
I'll say this: AI is a part of the fabric of our life, and it's especially for our children. I think it's especially in the earlier years, as Elder Phillips said, and Dr. Phillips said, you've got to use it as a tool to enhance the educational experience, not replace the educational experience. And so I think it's important for them to, especially in the early years, to spend time with the rudimentals of as they grow through that. At the higher levels, high school, college, I think universities are now struggling with what AI policies they will put in place to make sure that the academic integrity of whatever is written is truly yours. And so I think a lot of that is going to be on the individual to be academically and intellectually honest in the generation of their material, and give credit where credit is due, sourcing adequately in APA styles or whatever formats there may be for you to properly source the AI used in their research for that educational process. But I want to say something on the AI for our young people, because I've had to deal with this for our young people in a very significant way recently for some of our kids. Don't go take using AI to do not such wise things. Like putting a weapon on the back of your shoulders, doing stuff like that. I've seen these things, and I'm saying, wait, what are these guys thinking? Don't go playing around with things and then putting it out there because in the digital space, because you're playing around with AI. And you're playing around with AI, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble these days. So our kids, I want to encourage our kids, learn, but do that in a safe space. Not everything you do needs to be on the World Wide Web.
AI
Not
responsibly.
everything needs to be in that space, and not everything needs to be put in that box. So learn, be creative, and I think that I saw something that Patrice Williams, Gordon had put up the idea. That quote is really good. Put that one back up there. That she did that one. That one there is a very
I'm
good,
sorry.
yeah.
Two of us doing it at the same time.
Yeah. The real beauty lies in the intersection of creativity, inspiration, and AI. It could not have been said any better. I think that goes to it's not AI by itself. It's not the end result by itself. It's that beautiful collaboration and marriage of what is being processed in your mind and what's being processed in the mind of AI, and how that intersects and what that result is like. I think it's an awesome, modern technology that is here to stay. I am anxious to see what Elder Phipps, what the Phipps next album is going to sound like. When it's AI, and listen, I know your music. I've been listening to your music from having a child, and your music is just rich with orchestra. You don't go the cheap way. You go with full band orchestra, nice
You don't look
sounding
that
stuff.
young, man. What do you mean from a child? What you
I wasn't gonna touch that. Gentlemen,
In my younger years,
well,
then let me get back.
November 2, on November 2, I'm speaking and doing a concert at the Capitol Hill Church in Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
to of the church that I pastored for 10 years. And I'm going to be rolling out some music that I've recorded. It's not AI, but I recorded some years ago that I never released. And it's the best way I can describe it to you is I'm going to take you to Africa.
Wow.
And it's Wintley Phipps meets Lion King.
Ah,
Wow.
beautiful, beautiful,
Wow.
beautiful.
So check it out.
They'll be in for a
Beautiful,
treat.
beautiful, beautiful.
Lisa Davis says we must maintain the ability to have original thought. And I want to go back to what Dr. Phipps said. We have to read. We have to read. We have to read. I think we had a great conversation.
I agree.
From the responses we have, and I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody's response. And I'm sure I'm going to go on our Facebook pages and I'm going to see where a lot of people were saying we missed it. We apologize. And I can't ask them to come back next week. It's not this kind of deal. We're grateful to God for this. And Pastor Wellington, we want to give you the last word. Again, we thank you all so very, very, very much. Dr. Phipps, thanks. Thanks 10 million times. Thank you. Want to say something before Pastor Wellington?
Just that this has been such an enlightening conversation, and
Yes.
there's so much distrust that's out there societally as we try to embrace AI. And I think this was a beautiful way for us to bring it together and to have some people who are really embedded in it.
We're doing the thing. And listen, it's not a lack of faith. If y'all are willing to come back, just let me know. But I would never ask.
We'll be happy to have you. I'll ask. I'm them both.
Anytime.
That's just what they give it, right? I'll close up by saying this: that AI is, and I want to thank you, Winston and Kamala, for inviting us to share this evening, and to Elder Phipps for your willingness to join us this evening.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. Thanks for sacrificing the time and being with us.
Yes.
But I'll say this. I'll say this much: AI is not something to fear.
That's right.
AI is a tool. It's a tool that can be used for good and it can be used for other. And I would like to suggest that we ought to find ways to use AI for our own personal and professional growth and development. It can allow us to become the better version of ourselves. It can allow us to reach people in ways we have not thought of. It can enhance our ministry. It can enhance our reach. And it can make us even greater witnesses for Christ. And so I encourage individuals, young and old, don't run away from the technology. Embrace the technology and let it be used as a tool or an instrument for the greater good and the greater development of who you are as we prepare for the second coming of Jesus Christ.
I love it.
Listen, that was so eloquent. I want to know if AI wrote it.
That was good. Now, Dr. Phipps, I wouldn't dare ask you to sing. I would not even dream of asking that. But just in case you want for
It
us
was
to
not
leave with
written
a
by
little
AI, the AI of the heart.
They have the heart. Just in case there's a little something melody that wants to come out before we go off, we'll gladly take it. But I wouldn't ask. Thank you, gentlemen, so very much for coming on, for talking with us, for spending the time with us. We want to tell you all thanks so very much for hanging out with us. Kamala, if it's Monday night,
You're live with KW and
Jay. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you so much.